Hey everybody, today I'm going to be showing you how to pause, play, restart, and stop audio files inside of your application with Swift and Xcode. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so I have some audio files that I want to play. So this first audio file is going to happen when I click a button. And then this second audio file will be played as soon as my background loads, or when the view loads. So those are the audios that I'm going to be working with in this tutorial. We have a short one and a long one. So let's go ahead and open up Xcode, create a new Xcode project, and this is going to be a single view application. Click Next. Our product name, I'm going to call this Audio. Our language will be set to Swift, and our devices will be set to iPhone. Click Next, and Create. Alright, now I'm going to make this a bit bigger. And first thing we need to do is go inside of our main.storyboard, and we're going to add a button onto our scene. So go ahead, click and drag a button onto our scene, our view controller. And this first button, we're just going to call this Play Audio. So this is going to be the one that actually loads the button, like when the button is pressed, it's going to play that audio. And then we're going to also have a play, pause, and restart button down here. So go ahead, add a pause button, pause/play button. So let's say play or pause. This will first say pause because this is actually going to manipulate the background music. And then we have our second button, and this will be restart. And lastly, we have a third button, and this is going to be our stop. Now basically this stop button right here actually makes it restart to the beginning, but it completely stops the file. And pause, it keeps it in the same place, but it doesn't go back to the beginning. But it pauses it still. It stops the music, but it stays in the same place. And then this restart goes straight to the beginning, but it keeps on playing. Alright, so now we have those buttons all set up. Let's go ahead and open up our assistant editor. It looks like two little circles up here in the top right corner. And we want to right click or control click and drag from our pause button. And then this will go up here, and this is going to be an outlet. And the reason I'm doing an outlet for this button is because we're going to be switching between pause and play. So we're going to say outlet, and this is going to be pause, play. This will be our pause play button. Now we need to right click or control click and drag from our play audio button, and this is going to be an action, and this is going to be called play audio. We'll say play audio 1. You guys can call that whatever you want. It doesn't really matter what these functions are called, but just be sure to use them correctly inside of your application. Alright, now right click or control click and drag from our stop button over to our view controller.swift file. This is going to be an action, and our name of this one will just be stop. And then connect. And lastly, we're going to have our restart button. So right click or control click and drag from our restart button just down there, and we're going to make the connection type action. And then our name of this will just be restart, and then connect. And also just an important thing that you need to realize is when you're hooking up this action, you can also have different events. So when this is dragged, when this is la-di-da, you can do whatever you want. Right now, this is when it's touched up inside, so this is actually the natural response. So you can touch it, and then as soon as you let go of the button, then it automatically stops, restarts, or plays the audio. That is its natural setup, because that's the most natural way of doing it. But you can always change that around. Alright. So now right up here, we want to create a URL. And this URL is actually going to allow us to grab these audio files that I have and place that inside of an audio player so we can listen to the audio itself and use the devices that are included inside of our inside of the iPhone, so we can actually utilize the speakers on the iPhone for our own audio. So first thing we need to do is just say var, and this is going to be button audio URL, then colon, and this is going to, or we could actually just say equals ns URL, open parentheses, file URL with path, and this is going to be nsbundle.mainbundle dot path for resource. And the path for resource is going to be the name of your audio file. So let's go ahead and add our audio files inside of our application. So I have these two right here. We just want to click and drag those into our supporting files. And I'm actually going to place this inside of another file, which is going to actually hold the music that we have. So I'm going to create a new group and then add these audio files inside of that group. And I'm going to change the name of this new group to just be music. Alright, so now we have our music stored up inside of this music file. So go back over to our viewcontroller.swift and close our assistant editor. And we are going to, and I'm actually going to make this text a bit bigger for you guys so you guys can see it a bit better. So click on it. So we're going into preferences, fonts and colors, and we're going to change the size of this to just be, we'll say 18, because I think that's a reasonable size. And you guys should be able to see that a bit better. So we created our outlets down outlet up here, and our actions down here, or our functions down there. And then now we're creating our URL, which is going to hold this audio. So path for resource, and this resource is just going to be button audio. It's the name of your file right before the dot. So right now it's button audio .wav, so you forget about the dot, and anything before that is actually the name of your resource. And then it's going to be of type, and then you want to say open quotation mark, close quotation mark. It's going to be the type of a WAV file, so just go WAV. Now if you have an MP3, it would be MP3 or anything like that. So after that we want to add exclamation point, and after this whole thing we need to instantiate it, so we can just say, actually, we don't need an exclamation point there. All right. So what we're doing there is we're creating a URL, and we have a file. The path for the file is going to be inside of this bundle, or the bundle that we have right over here. It's going to be somewhere inside of this bundle, and we're grabbing it, the name of it, and then the WAV file. So now we're actually grabbing this exact music file right there. All right, now let's actually play this audio. So up here, we want to import our AV foundation. So just say import AV foundation. And this holds the code that will allow us to utilize the speakers on our iPhone. Now, this actually might not work properly because we haven't imported our framework, which is the AV Foundation framework. It's not showing any errors, but it might not work properly on your actual device. So go ahead and click on your audio project up here, go to build phases, and be sure you're selected on targets, or you won't see, you'll be selected on this target right here, or else you won't see this build phases section. Go up here, go down here to link binary with libraries, and we're going to add the framework AV Foundation, and add that. Now we have this AV Foundation framework, and you can see it over here. So over here we have all these headers, and these headers actually hold, if we go look into these, they hold all the things that are going to be actually grabbing our speaker system. So let's go ahead and close all those, and we want to go into our viewcontroller.swift file again, and we want to create a variable, and this will be our audio player. So you can just say button audio player equals audio player, or AV audio player, sorry, AV audio player. And then open bracket, contents of URL, and then we just want to type in the name of this URL that we have right here, that we just created right up here. So we're just going to say button audio URL. And then error, we don't want anything to show if there's an error, so we're just going to say nil. And actually, this is not going to work properly, so we want to actually, you actually want to do this a bit different. So let's go ahead and just copy and paste that, what we just created, and go into our view.did_load. And then just erase the variable right there. And now, or actually, don't erase the var. We actually want to just copy and paste this first part. We don't want the contents of URL part because this is just instantiated right above here, meaning that we can't really call it from something that's just right underneath it. So it's not going to work properly. So we need to go right down here, and we were going to say var button audio player equals AV audio player, open parentheses, close parentheses. So that will actually just create this, and then right down here you want to erase this var part of it, so we're calling that exact same button audio player that we created right up there. So now we have this audio file, and now if we were to build and run this, first of all, nothing would happen. So let's go ahead and make something happen. So right down here in your play audio 1, you just want to say audio player, or I guess this would be button audio player dot play. So now let's build and run. And if we don't have any errors, it should build properly to the point that when we click on our play audio button, our audio should play. And also we need to move those buttons around a bit more. So click on play audio, and there you have it. We have our button audio.wav file playing as soon as that button is clicked. So there you have it. That is how you play audio. And now we actually want to stop it. So this stop button is actually going to work with the background audio. So let's go ahead and set up our background audio. And we're actually going to set up our background audio quite differently. So we're going to say var background audio equals audio or AV audio player, open quotation mark, and this is going to be contents of URL, and you can just say ns URL file with URL path, and this is going to be the path of an NS bundle. Now, if you don't already notice what I'm doing right here, basically I'm making this so it's all one line, and I like this about this, so you don't really have to have 3 lines just to say, or you don't have to have 1, 2, and then you have this 3rd line right here just to say play audio. So I'm doing this. Now I could actually do this with this one right up here and switch it around. I will do that in just a minute, but right here we have this background audio file URL with path, then we go dot path for resource, and the name of this is going to be our whatever we named it over here, background audio.mp3. So just type in background audio, and this is going to be of the type mp3, and then we're going to say error nil. And I forgot to add this exclamation point right there, so you want it right after our path for resource part right there, and I'm actually, yeah, that's where you would put it. It's right after this parentheses right there, and just before this one where it goes off and it says error nil. So as you could see this actually right over here, we're adding the audio URL just straight inside of that one line of code. So now we can actually call that background audio a lot easier instead of having it just built in the view.did_load. So I like doing it this way a lot better. So now we can actually just go down here, and we don't even need this view.did_load part for our background audio anymore. And we can just go inside of our view.did_load. We can just say background audio.play. And there you have it. That's a simple one-line way of doing things. So we're going to do this with our button audio, and we're going to say var button audio player equals AV audio player, open parentheses, and the contents of URL. And we're just going to copy and paste this whole part right over here inside of our contents of URL file, and we're going to say error nil. And then just erase this variable that we have right up here, and erase this line that we have inside of our view.did_load. And now that makes it a lot easier for us to call things a bit later. So now, if we were to build and run this, we would actually have our background audio playing as soon as the view loads. So now that that works, we're going to actually make that audio stop. So right down here in our stop file, you want to say background audio dot stop. Right now, this stop file, if you actually used it right now, it would actually be more like a pause. So in order for this to be more like a stop where it actually restarts it back to the beginning, but doesn't play it, you want to say background audio dot current time equals 0. So we're resetting this background audio time back to 0, and that's going to restart it. Now now that that's over with, now we need to actually restart this. And we're going to say background audio dot stop. Then we're going to have background audio dot current time is back at 0. And then right after that, we're going to say background audio dot play. So now if we were to build and run this, so we can say stop, it stops it. And then if you click restart, it plays it back to the beginning. Alright, and now we need to pause that. So now let's go ahead, and I forgot to add the pause function that we're going to use. So let's go ahead and add that. So I'm just going to go down here, make it a bit bigger, and we're going to right click or control click and drag from pause over to our viewcontroller.swift and add an action. And this action will be pause, play. So now connect. So first thing we need to do is actually say if the audio is playing, so if background audio dot playing is equal to yes, or is equal to true, then we want stuff to happen. If it's not playing, then we want this other thing to happen. So just go open curly bracket, close curly bracket. Or is equal to true. Because equals and equal is a comparison statement, whereas equal is actually just transferring and for instance, we're changing the current time over to 0, whereas we're not comparing it to 0. All right, so now we need to say if the audio is playing, we need to say background audio dot stop, and then we also need to change our pause play button time to be, so just say pause play dot text or title dot title, or sorry, pause play dot set title. I keep spelling this wrong. Pause play dot set title to be we're going to make this play. So when you click pause, it's going to turn it back to play, and this is going to be for the control state UI control state dot normal, like so. So now when this is just sitting there after you click pause, when it's just sitting there, it's going to be saying the text play. So now we're actually going to do this with our play button, and we're going to say play, or this is going to be background audio dot play. So now when we click the play button, it's going to play, and then it's going to turn the text back to pause. So let's say pause play dot set title, open quotation mark, close quotation mark, and this is going to be pause. And this is for the state UI control state dot normal again. So this is when the button is just sitting there. It's going to say pause. So let's go ahead, play this audio. We have this. Now we can pause the background audio and play it again. It keeps it in that same position. And then we can keep playing it, click stop, it stops it. And also, that's another thing we need to do. So when we click on stop, we actually want this to be going back to this play, we want our pause button to go back to play. So you can easily do that just by saying pause play dot set title to be play. And again, this is for the UI control state dot normal. So now if we were to click stop, it would automatically change the title of our button. So click stop, changes it to play, and now we can click play. And it goes back to the beginning and plays it again, and we click pause and we can play and then restart. Goes back to the beginning. So that is how you mess around with audio inside of Swift in Xcode. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and also this play audio button right up here works as well. All right, and that's it for manipulating all of these audios themselves. Now I'm going to fix the error that we have right here where it's actually just going off the screen. So let's right click or control click and drag from our play audio, and I'm going to center horizontally in center and then center vertically. And we're going to do that with all of these buttons. Right click or control click and drag from our restart button, and that's going to be our pause button, center horizontally and then center vertically. Click on our stop button, center horizontally, and then center vertically. And now if we built and ran this right now, it would actually center up inside of our view controller in a way. So now we have pause, play, stop, play, restart. There you go, guys. That's it for this tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed it. That's it for this tutorial. If you guys enjoyed it, be sure to hit that like button down below. If you guys want to see more tutorials like this from me in the future, be sure to subscribe down below. If you guys have any questions or comments, be sure to leave that down in the comment section down below. And if you guys want to know more about me, be sure to check me out on Twitter and other social media links down in the description down below. But anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Swift with Xcode. Hey everybody.